And this safe is mounted in the wall of my house, and this matter is brought against me as a result of the testimony that I gave in the Madlanga Commission. At flight risk, I will stand my trial. I will stand my trial should it proceed against me. I now have become a well-known sergeant in the South African Police Services. There is no possibility that I will even think of not standing my trial should there be one. I trust the South African legal system and that the facts will show that I did not commit the offences that I have been charged with by the state and or prosecution. In order to persuade the above court that I should be released on bail, I provide the following additional facts and information in terms of Section 60 that need to be considered by this court in this application. At Section 60, subsection 4A, read with Section 60, subsection 5 of Act 51 of 1977. I do not know the identity of any witnesses upon whom the state will rely in order to attempt to prove a case against me, besides the police officers who were present during my arrest and executed the search warrant in my property. In any event, I have no intention to interfere with any witnesses, as I have no cause to do so, and I undertake not to do so. I contend that there is no likelihood that if I'm released on bail, I will endanger the safety of the public, any person in which the offense was allegedly committed against, or a particular person, or that I will commit a Schedule 1 offense. I contend that the witnesses in this case will in all probability be the police officers, and there is no evidence that if I'm released on bail, I will endanger the safety of the public or any person, as the charges that I'm charged with are offenses against the state and not a particular person. And as indicated, I do not have pending cases against me, besides this case, no previous convictions and outstanding warrants of arrest. And as such, there is no likelihood that if I'm released on bail, I will commit a Schedule 1 offense. I contend that no violence was used in the commission of the alleged offenses, which offenses are disputed. I have no resentment against my colleagues who arrested me. There is no evidence that I have disposition to commit the Schedule 1 offense, and in the past that I committed an offense referred in Schedule 1. I maintain good relationships with people and I bear no grudges against anyone. As previously stated, I have no previous convictions and I have not been released on bail pending any charges. I am not disposed to violence. At the provisions of Section 60, subsection 4B, we read with Section 60, subsection 6 of Act 51 of 1977. I respectfully submit that the facts set out above support my contention that I do not constitute flight risk. I contend that there is no evidence that if I'm released on bail, there is a likelihood that I will attempt to evade the trial. I'm gainfully employed by South African Police Services. I have immovable property within this honorable court's jurisdiction. My wife is gainfully employed as a traffic officer within this court's jurisdiction, and I reside with my family in this court's jurisdiction. As such, I will not benefit anything by evading my trial. It is my condition that I have emotional, family, and official ties to the jurisdiction of the above court where the charges against me will be tried, and as such, I will not evade trial. My passports are with the investigating officer of this matter against me, and as such, I have no means to leave the Republic of South Africa. And besides, now I am now known, and there is no way that I can leave this country by either road, sea, and or air. I cannot afford to forfeit any amount of bail money that can be fixed by the above honorable court, and the strength of the state's case is weak against me, and considering the charges against me, there is no gravity as no violence was used against any individual. I condemn that the prescribed sentence that this court may impose if I were to be found guilty in terms of the Act 60 of 2000 is 5 years. And as such, the sentence is not grave to warrant that I flee and leave my family, employment, and immovable property behind. I have two South African passports. The one passport is my personal passport, and the other one was the passport that I was instructed to make for the official trip as a member of South African Police Services that I had to make to Italy, which did not materialize as the trip was cancelled. I only left the Republic of South Africa in 2012 when I went to visit Botswana, and I have never left South Africa again since 2012, and I'm willing to hand all my passports to the investigating officer, and I undertake not to apply for any travel documents. I condemn that there is no evidence that if I were to be released on bail, that I will evade trial. However, the facts that I have pointed out are indicative that I will stand trial should I be released on bail. My family and friends will be able to raise an appropriate amount to post as a bail. At provision of Section 60, subsection 4C, read with Section 60, subsection 7 of Act 51 of 1977. I have no knowledge of any evidential material which may exist with regard to the allegation leveled against me. In any event, I believe that whatever such evidence may be, it is in the possession of police in the South African Police Services, and it is safely secured, and I do not have access thereto, and I undertake not to interfere with any further investigations. I contend that the main witnesses in this case are police officers, and the evidence that will be used against is in the safety custody of police officers, and as such, if I were to be released on bail, there is no likelihood, Your Worship, that there's no likelihood that I will attempt to influence or intimidate these witnesses, or to conceal or destroy evidence that the state will rely on in an attempt to prove the charges that I've been charged with. I'm not familiar with the police officers whom I believe will be the witnesses in this case, and I believe they have already made the statements, and as such, there is no evidence that I will attempt to influence them. I believe that the bail conditions that will be imposed by this honorable court will be effective and enforceable in prohibiting communication between me and witnesses, and I undertake not to communicate with them. I am not sure which witnesses the state will rely upon in order to attempt to prove this case against me. Nonetheless, I undertake not to communicate with any witnesses, whoever he or she may be, and any other persons whose names may appear on the list of state witnesses to be provided by the state. My continued incarceration can only prejudice me and creates no benefit to the state. At the provision of Section 60, subsection 4D, read with Section 68 of Act 51 of 1977. This is my first arrest. I do not have any pending criminal cases against me, besides the charges that I've been charged with by the state and the prosecution. I contend that if I'm released on bail, I will not undermine or jeopardize the objectives and the proper functioning of the criminal justice system, including the bail system, as I have never been released on bail and undermine the criminal justice system and or bail system. I have never failed to comply with bail conditions previously, as there is no evidence that if I'm released on bail by this honorable court, I will not comply with any bail conditions that may be imposed by the above honorable court. At the provisions of Section 60, subsection 4E, read with Section 60, subsection 8, capital A of Act 51 of 1977. I respectfully submit that should I be released on bail, my release shall not disturb the public order or undermine the proper functioning of the criminal justice system. The offenses that I have been charged with are the offenses against the state, and as I have demonstrated, the charges against me are weak and non-existent, and are only brought against me in order to frustrate me for the reasons that are unknown to me. I will comply with such conditions as the above honorable court may wish to impose. I accordingly submit that the interests of justice, considerations of prejudice, and the balancing of respective interests favor my release on bail. My family and friends have advised me that they will be able to post bail in the amount of 10,000 rand. Signed and commissioned today, Your Worship, the 13th of April 2026. It has been duly signed by Mr. Nkosi. With your permission, my lady, may I hand up the affidavit as an exhibit.
Right, I noted that there were typos, paragraph 45 and paragraphs 21.21. You wish to hand it up as it is? Because you said this is an original.
It's the original, Your Worship. If I may just make the actual, make the necessary amendment.
Here it is.
If I might turn my back, Your Worship.
Yes, you may approach.